From the time we wake up in the morning until the time we go to bed at night, we find ourselves negotiating for items for us throughout the entire day. Maybe it's a car, maybe it's a house, maybe it's negotiating with your teenagers to take out the trash. But the bottom line is we are negotiating all the time, and it's important that we understand the basic tenets of negotiation to make sure that we get what we want and we make sure the people that we're dealing with get what they want as well. The trick with negotiations is we just want to get a little bit more. So let's look at phase 3 of negotiations, and that's when you're actually negotiating the deal. Most of your work should be done in advance of negotiating the deal. If you've done a good job of preparing and a good job of setting the stage, then by the time you get to negotiating the deal, you're in control, you're in command, and you have a much better chance of achieving the outcome that you want to achieve. So under negotiating the deal, here are some of the things you need to be aware of. First of all, you may need to modify your style. In other words, your style of interacting with people can actually shut down the negotiation. About 75% of all issues that arise in negotiations arise because of style issues. It's not about the rate. It's not about the inventory. It's the fact that your style of negotiation has angered the other person, and your interpersonal tension is now risen to the point that they can't focus on getting the negotiations done. Number 2, don't accept the first offer. You should almost never, ever accept the first offer. And as business gets better and better in our industry, and it will continue to get better, we have an opportunity to walk away from a lot of these first offers. In a down economy, we're tempted to take them. It's a bad move. It sends the wrong message. Third thing, we said this already, test your assumptions. Don't ever go into a negotiation assuming you know the outcome. Fourth thing in a negotiation, you will be asked to make a concession. It may be on rate, it may be on inventory, it may be on make good weight. Anytime you are asked to make a concession, you ask for a concession in return. If I do that for you, will you do this for me? If I give you those make goods, if I guarantee the return, can I get 5% more share? If you do not answer a concession with a concession, then your concession has no value. Use red herrings near the end. And we're going to describe what a red herring is in just a minute, and we're going to go through some concession strategy as well. Red herrings are opportunities for you to change or reframe the negotiation. They're very, very powerful near the end. Take calculated risk. You never take a risk unless your management is involved, but the more risk you're willing to take, the more powerful you become as a negotiator. And then at the very end of the negotiation, nibble for a little bit more. Regardless of what's on the table, regardless of what you've gotten, ask for another share point, ask for another spot, ask for another rotation, ask for another week on the schedule. Always at the end, ask for a little bit more because they're already committed to doing business with you, and a little bit more is pretty easy to get, and you often get it. So nibble at the very end. So let's look at some rules for making concessions. We said, first of all, always answer a concession with a concession request. Secondly, never concede without getting something in return. And if you have to make more than one concession, make sure that your second and third concession are always smaller than the one before, because you're signaling to the person you're negotiating with that this negotiation is winding down and coming to an end. So let's take a quick look at these red herrings. A red herring is any diversion intended to distract attention from the main issue. So whenever a negotiation starts to bog down over a significant issue, introduce a red herring. And a red herring works best near the end of the negotiation. It works best late in the game. A red herring is something that you make sound very important to you. So it could be your make good policy. It could be an extra spot in the rotation. It could be any number of things that we offer in the media business. You throw these red herrings out on the table anytime the negotiation stalls. And red herrings are also very, very powerful in diluting the other party's argument. So when they're making such a big deal out of your rates, you introduce a red herring, you reframe the negotiation, you move it off a rate, and you move it in a different direction. Red herrings are very, very powerful. Then the last skill set we want to look at very quickly is the nibble. And we said it's an opportunity to get a little bit more on each deal. A station that bills $10 million a year, if you got 1% more on every deal, just 1% more on every deal, that's another $100,000 in business for that television station. So get a little bit more on each deal. What you do is you start near the end, you ask for a little bit more, and then you keep nibbling. If they give you a little bit more, you ask for a little bit more again. You may actually get it. This sends the message to the party that you're negotiating with that they got the best end of the deal, and you're just trying to come back to level par. So practice these negotiating skills. Go into the negotiating section, download the notes, download the tips on negotiations, start practicing these, and watch your negotiations and your shares grow.